Okay, so I'm going to start off with a quote out of the Atomic Habits book by James Clear. Our meditation quote was out of this book. And I am doing a lot from this book tonight because we're finished. We're finally finished. We have one more class on Monday night, but it's not until the first one in June. And so I finished listening to the book today. And it's just such a phenomenal book that correlates I see a nodding head, and that correlates so well with how we can approach life and how we can approach our spiritual evolution and personal growth and spiritual practice, any of that kind of stuff. So the quote is, excuse me, "One positive change, like meditating for 1 minute or reading 1 page each day, is unlikely to deliver a noticeable difference. Gradually, though, as you continue to layer small changes on top of one another, the scales of life start to move. Each improvement is like adding a grain of sand to the positive side of the scale, slowly tilting things in your favor. Eventually, if you stick with it, you hit a tipping point. Suddenly, it feels easier to stick with good habits. The weight of the system is working for you rather than against you." And so for me, this is important because when we come here to expand our mind, open our heart, and further activate our soul, this is only one thing, at least I like to think it's only one thing, that all of us are doing to do that very thing. That this is just one aspect of your day, of your week, of whatever it is that you're doing to open up your heart, to expand your mind, to celebrate the love that you truly are, to show up more as the love that you truly are for yourself, for our community, and our world. And so to me, when he's talking about habits specifically in this book, habits and this thing that he just said in that paragraph are like choices, like time, like energy, like the attention that we're paying. And so the question is, which was the title of a talk a few weeks ago, what are you compounding? And this goes with our monthly theme of compound interest. And so what are you compounding when you are using and you are directing these choices, your time, your energy, your attention, in every aspect of your life? In your home, in your relationships, in your finances, in your creative expression, in the ways that you are of service. What is it that you're compounding? And if you're experiencing something that is not preferable, then it's time to kind of go back and sort of think about what are the thoughts, what are the beliefs, what are the emotions that are informing my life experience, because maybe there are things that I'm compounding that I don't want to be, and if I don't want to have this experience, I got to start compounding something different or differently. And so the title of my talk today is Tipping the Scales. So I found this actual photograph, and I know that those are probably mung beans, but I thought, they also kind of look like mustard seeds. And mustard seeds are symbolic because they represent faith, right? So I'm going to go with, let's pretend that those are mustard seeds in there, okay? Tipping our scales in our favor. All right? Now, I want to tell you a story. This is kind of, it's not that it's embarrassing, it's just like, wow, this is what happened today. So I'm on the way home from the gym. I'm driving along Blanchard near, I got to say it's like maybe Mayfair Mall, and there's no one else on the road, okay? And so I'm driving along, and I'm listening to Atomic Habits, listening for inspiration to come through for the talk tonight. And all of a sudden, I look at the speedometer, I'm like, oh, crap, I'm going too fast. And as I start to slow down, I see in the distance, Mr. Police Officer, come on over to the side, and I'm like, oh, cringing. Not just because I'm totally speeding, but because I'm realizing as this is happening that it's kind of ironic because I'm listening for stuff for the talk tonight, and here it is. But what I'm also realizing is that there is this streak of not getting a speeding ticket that is like decades long that I didn't even have a chance to celebrate until I effing lost it today when I got the speeding ticket. So he flags me over, I go and I park, but here's the thing. If this had happened maybe a year ago, maybe 5 years ago, definitely 10 years ago or 20 years ago, I would have had a very different experience. I would have had a very different series of responses. And so this time, even though I found myself feeling disappointment, that disappointment just did not rise. Like it just stayed like low level, like it's just information, your streak is broken. Done, right? So I wasn't getting upset. I wasn't getting annoyed. I wasn't even thinking of like, how can I slip in that I'm a minister and maybe he'll like not give me the ticket? It's like none of that was coming up, right? Or if it was just sort of like, little bubbles, that are bursting, right? And so I'm sitting there, I roll down my window, he comes by and he looks at me very pleasantly and kindly and really compassionately, and I'm like, yes, I know, I'm so sorry. And he's like, I'm gonna need to see your driver's license and insurance, right? And I'm like, I don't even know where that stuff is because I don't ever have to get it. But anyway, so I got it, showed it to him, and he goes, I'm just gonna go to the car and I'll be right back, right? And then I'm sitting there and all of this stuff is coming up, but all of it is positive and all of it feels good and everything is just super chill and easy. And I'm just like, this is such a new experience compared to the last time I got a speeding ticket, which was decades ago. I don't even remember, but it was definitely in Toronto, and it was before Milana was born, so like more than 20 years ago, right? And so I can't even mourn the loss of this streak that I just broke because I'm just feeling so good and comfortable. And I'm like, I was speeding. I totally accept, take personal responsibility for it. He's going to give me a ticket, not a problem. I don't know how much it's going to cost. But what's also coming up for me is, oh, wow, this is an unexpected expense that's coming at exactly the time when I just started this year-long program having to do with money and the nervous system. And our very first assignment last week was cut your expenses by $300 for the month. I'm like, well, I've kind of gone backwards there, right? So anyway, he comes over and he's like, well, your record is amazing. And so what I'm going to do is I have to give you a ticket, but I'm going to give you the lowest one that I can possibly give. And if you don't say that, and if you also in this section here, it says if you pay it off, by a certain amount of time, it's even lower, right? So already I'm like turning this around and spinning it as in like that ticket could have been like this big, right? But it's this big because of his kindness and compassion, not because they do it for everyone. And there's this opportunity for it to get even lower. And so of course I'm going to take that opportunity. But as I'm listening to this, I wasn't listening to it anymore. But as this is happening and I'm thinking atomic habits and I'm thinking about compound interest here, then I'm just so grateful for all the stuff that I've been compounding, over the last several years of my spiritual journey, my personal growth journey, because it all was paying off today in that very experience. And what was so lovely too was he really was so nice and so kind and so compassionate. And he even ended up saying, you know what, I'm really sorry about your streak, but you know what, we all make mistakes. We all end up speeding, myself included. And I'm like, whoa, a police officer admitting his fallibility. That was really, really neat. So it, I'm thinking, okay, this expense, this is what's happening. That's all it is. This just information that's coming up. It's just an experience. The only meaning that experience has is the meaning that I give it. And it wasn't like I was trying to build up a bunch of trauma and drama around it. It just wouldn't come up. Like there was just no triggering, no activation, no nothing. And it was so super cool and it felt so freeing and so liberating. So I got the ticket, thanked him, we said our goodbyes, he went back to his car, I pulled out, and what I also realized was, okay, one of the reasons I was going as fast as I was going, I wasn't paying attention, but it was because there was no one around me to kind of like be in the flow of traffic, right? To remind me, like, slow down kind of thing. And so it just made me think, what's the lesson here? Because there is a lesson here for sure. And by the time I got home, I just thought, the lesson is that even when we are on our own, when there's seemingly no one around us, that there is still that within us to remind us who we are and how we get to show up, should we choose to do so, right? That wisdom, that intuition, it's always, always there. And it's important for us to pay attention to it. So I was not paying attention. And so I got this ticket, but the ticket was a reminder, it's not horrible. Would I prefer not to be paying that money? Yes. The thing that really got me was when I looked at the actual ticket and the words of like offense, criminal, violation, plead guilty, and I'm like, oh my God, like I was just driving too fast, that's all it was. But even that was just momentary, right? You know, I'm not a felon, I'm not a criminal, I'm not going to the clink, you know, I'm gonna pay the fine. So it all kind of brought me back to, you know, this quote that we had for meditation. Success is not a goal to reach or a finish line to cross. It is a system to improve, an endless process to refine. So every moment of every day we are choosing. We are choosing how we show up. We are choosing how we behave. We are choosing how we relate. We're making choices on how we express in our life, in every single aspect of life, for ourselves, in relationship to community and our world. And so it's really, really important for us to decide, how are we going to show up? And here, we show up as love. That's what we talk about at VTC, is to live life lovingly. And one of our 4 pillar statements off our new VTC values compass is that I live with the certainty that love is my true nature. Do you have it on your bottle? Is that what you just smile? Yeah, right on. Oh, mine is at home. Yeah, so matchy, but no. Okay, yay, congratulations. Now that's a board member, having that sticker on her water bottle. Right on, thank you. And so it comes down to one of the things that James Clear has at the very beginning of his book, which is, what kind of a person do I want to be? And so the kind of person I want to be is the kind of person that embodies, that's our purpose here at VTC, embodies the 4 main values of this community, which also happen to be important and meaningful to me. So that's to be open to new experiences. It is to be committed to my spiritual growth and my practice. It is to show up as authentically as possible, especially when there's no one around to remind me. And it's to anchor myself in love, noticing, accepting, and celebrating what is versus what has been. And so the other thing that happened as I was on my way home and I finished Atomic Habits, this thing, when I got home, I went to turn Audible off, and it showed me that I received a new badge. And I'm like, oh, yay, I got another badge. And I got a little gold ring around it. And the badge that I got was the Repeat Listener badge, which means that you have listened to a book at least 20 times. Right? And I've talked about this on this stage before with The Alchemist and with the Book of Forgiving, which is the book that we're using in class right now on Saturdays. And every single time when I go to listen to one of those books, I am excited and ready to learn something new. And there are favorite parts that I'm like, oh, it's coming up, I know what's going to happen here, more so in The Alchemist than in the Book of Forgiving, because the Book of Forgiving, there's some really intense stuff in there. But I know that every single time I listen, even though that book may be the same book, I am a new me. So I have a new experience every time. I hear something new. I have new insights. I have new experiences. And I love that. And that took practice. It took practice. It took continual shifting in consciousness. It takes continual work, and it's ongoing. Just like he talks about where success, it's not a finish line. It's not a thing you complete. It is ongoing. Practice, practice, practice. And so there's a part at the very end of the book that I want to read to you. Such a good ending to this book, which is so good. And he writes that this is a continuous process. There is no finish line. There is no permanent solution. The secret to getting results that last is to never stop making improvements. It's remarkable what you can build if you just don't stop. It's remarkable the business you can build if you don't stop working. It's remarkable the body you can build if you don't stop training. Personal one for me. It's remarkable the knowledge you can build if you don't stop learning. It's remarkable the fortune you can build if you don't stop saving. It's remarkable the friendships you can build if you don't stop caring. Small habits don't add up, they compound. So this is the same thing with what we do in our lives. The choices that we make, the attention that we pay, the time we spend, the energy we spend, all of that compounds upon itself, and then we get to decide the thing, the stuff, the ways that we are compounding, is that serving us in living our most amazing, engaging, fulfilling, connected, joy, and love-filled lives? Or should we start thinking about compounding something different? And so just like habits, our choices compound. So it's essential that our choices be conscious choices. When we take personal responsibility for the life we're creating, we choose to create a life founded in openness, commitment, authenticity, and love. And when we commit to living with the certainty that love is our true nature, our conscious choices will eventually tip the scales of life to more consistently inspire, attract, and activate more of that love in our lives and ourselves, each other, and our world. Thank you, and so it is.